So in this video, I'm going to share with you 10 reasons you're going to love living in Hell's Kitchen in Manhattan. Now, did you know that Hell's Kitchen actually has a strip of restaurants, kind of referred to as a restaurant row? This neighborhood is very, very underrated for their dining scene here. And I think that honestly, enough people don't come into Hell's Kitchen to enjoy the dining from other neighborhoods. It's kind of one of those places where like you go out in Hell's Kitchen if you live there or you're visiting friends, particularly there. A lot of people just don't make their way to the neighborhood, but I think that there's so many good dining spots there that they definitely should more. So you're never going to run out of places to eat right in your neighborhood, which is always a good thing. So the next reason you're going to love this neighborhood is it's near the theater district. Now, I know what you're probably thinking, and you're probably thinking that could be a con because there might be a lot of tourists coming through the neighborhood. But I do have to say, there is some tourist traffic that kind of spills over into Hell's Kitchen because it is so close to the theater district and Times Square. But at the same time, it's probably not as much as you would think being literally right next door to that neighborhood. I would say that it's really not that bad tourist traffic wise. Plus, you're so close to the theater district that you can easily get to a show, which is so convenient, especially if you love the theater. There's honestly nothing like being able to walk to a Broadway show. Overall, the public transportation is actually pretty good in Hell's Kitchen. Now, I say pretty good because it's good depending on where you live in the neighborhood. So this reason is a little bit skewed because if you live all the way west in Hell's Kitchen, I mean all the way west, 11th, 12th Avenue, you're gonna have to walk in to catch a subway because the subways don't service that area of Manhattan. And that's just not the case for Hell's Kitchen. That's really all neighborhoods that are all the way west like that, or neighborhoods on the east side that are all the way east. That's just how the city works for the most part. There are some exceptions, but that's how it mostly works. Now, if you are in the heart of Hell's Kitchen, so closer to 8th and 9th Avenue, depending on where you are, you're gonna be very, very close to a subway train. And even if the subway is not directly in Hell's Kitchen, you're still gonna be very, very close walking distance to a subway in another neighborhood where you can get pretty much anywhere in the city. So my next reason is the West Side waterfront. Now, I love a neighborhood that isn't landlocked in Manhattan because there's something about just being able to walk to the water and just enjoy some fresh air. Like it kind of like takes you out of the city for a minute. And I love that. I'm very, very biased about waterfront neighborhoods. When I lived personally in Hell's Kitchen, I lived all the way on 12th Avenue. So I was right on the waterfront, like couldn't be more on the waterfront. And I did really, really love that. I loved being able to walk outside my apartment and just take a walk on the water whenever I wanted. I do have to say there's just something about the waterfront neighborhoods. Now, I personally am a little also biased on the West Side waterfront neighborhoods because over the past like 10 years, New York City has really developed the West Side waterfront a lot more than they have the East Side. Now, they're kind of catching up and starting to develop the East Side waterfront more, but it still has a long way to go in comparison to the West Side waterfront. I love taking a walk on the West Side and just like enjoy more piers, more kind of like recreation over there. So I really just think it's a great spot to like really just spend an afternoon, honestly. So if you think about it, Hell's Kitchen isn't too far away from Central Park. Now, it definitely will depend on where you are in Hell's Kitchen because if you're down in the 42nd Street area, you are going to have a little bit of a ways to walk if you're going to walk up to 59th Street to get to Central Park. But at the same time, it's really walkable from anywhere you are in the neighborhood. And so many people love being able to walk to Central Park from their apartment. So you might not be aware, but there's actually a lot more entertainment in Hell's Kitchen than you probably even know of. Now, I feel like because Hell's Kitchen is next to the theater district and next to Times Square, it doesn't really get enough love for its entertainment and things going on in the neighborhood. But there's actually like a lot going on here in Hell's Kitchen. There are museums in the neighborhood. There's a lot of live music in the neighborhood. There's like drag brunches in the neighborhood. There's literally a lot going on here. So I think that it's definitely one of those neighborhoods that people just don't take advantage of what's directly here in the neighborhood for fun. Now, my next answer is definitely one of my favorites, and that comes down to the price. Now, if you compare Hell's Kitchen to some other neighborhoods in more centrally located areas of Manhattan, I would say that Hell's Kitchen is definitely one of the more affordable options. Now, it is Manhattan and everything is very, very pricey. So I don't want you to think that you're going to be getting some great deal at Hell's Kitchen. If you're comparing it to another neighborhood nearby, the square footage and the unit that you might be able to get here compared to one of those other neighborhoods, it's just going to be a better deal if you look at it that way. Now, that also brings me to my next point, which is there are so many different apartments in Hell's Kitchen. What do I mean by different apartments? When it comes to homes here, you have apartments, so you have high-rise buildings, you have mid-rise buildings, plus you also have walk-ups, you have townhomes. You really have every type of apartment here in this neighborhood. And I think a lot of people don't even realize that, honestly. I have seen townhomes here in this neighborhood be more on the affordable side, which is really, really underrated for the neighborhood. Honestly, I would say that no matter who you are and what type of apartment you're looking for, you're going to be able to find something in this neighborhood. Now, if you guys watch any of my other videos, you might know that I love a good coffee shop. I think there's nothing like just going out for like a cup of coffee. Sometimes I honestly even prefer it to like going out for a drink or like a bar scene. I love that this neighborhood has a ton of really great coffee shops. I think that this was one of my favorite things about living in Hell's Kitchen when I did live in this neighborhood. So no matter where you really live in the neighborhood, you can pretty much walk and get a cup of coffee from like a local coffee shop very, very easily. Now, I'm also a big supporter in supporting local coffee in New York City. And I know some people are just addicted to like their go-to Starbucks order, but I think that New York City has such a great coffee scene that it's just silly not to take advantage of it because it's probably one of the best in the world, honestly. And my last answer, even though I said I didn't love this when I was talking about coffee shops, is the bar scene. Now, don't get me wrong, I love a good bar scene. scene. I just really love coffee. But the bar scene here in Hell's Kitchen is actually really, really good. I feel like it's one of those neighborhoods where you don't feel like it's a big production to go out to the bar. You know what I'm talking about. When I'm talking about like, you feel like you have to wear a certain outfit, you feel like it has to be a certain vibe. Hell's Kitchen really is just a more low-key, down-to-earth vibe, but it's still a lot of fun, and you can get really, really good drinks here. I think it's one of those more approachable neighborhoods to going out compared to some neighborhoods where you feel like it's just a big production and a big scene when you're going out. I like how Hell's Kitchen really has something for everyone at the bar scene level. So that's 10 reasons why you're gonna love living in Hell's Kitchen in Manhattan. Now, I would love to know, would you guys ever live in Hell's Kitchen? Or have you ever lived in this neighborhood and want to share your stories with us in the comments? As always, I love hearing from you guys.